Oh, hey, VV Kids Heroes. Jackie here with week number 7 of Boldly Go. This is going so fast. I hope you guys have been enjoying these episodes as much as me and my kids have. We watch them over and over again in our home. But I am excited about this week. The big idea for this week is I boldly focus on the mission. So let's say that together. I boldly focus on the mission. So what do you think about when you think about the word focus? It's like your thoughts, right? Things you're focusing on. I know as adults even, it can be really hard sometimes. Once your thoughts start to spiral down, it can be really hard to bring them back around and really focus on what we need to be doing. So your mindset is the way you think or the attitude of your mind. I'm gonna say that again. Your mindset is the way you think or the attitude of your mind. We've been talking a lot in this series about attitudes and about having good attitudes and attitudes that will open up that portal to Jesus instead of closing it off to him. So in Philippians 4, we are talking, last week we talked a lot about what peace is and how to keep at peace with Jesus. And this week we're going to talk about how to give your thoughts a system reboot. So let's talk about things in the natural first that we can do when we feel like we need a system reboot. Because remember, we're focusing this week on staying on mission, on staying focused on what Jesus has called us to do. So as we go this week, we're going to talk to the kids about some practical ways that they can have a system reboot. But I want us to think as adults, like ways we can have a system reboot. When we can unplug things. So you can unplug things like unplug video games, unplug bad influences of friends when you're a kid, unplug TV shows that you shouldn't be watching. And as adults, we can do all those things too, but let's think about other ways that we can have a system reboot. I know for myself, if I go down like the scroll of doom on my phone instead of spending time with Jesus, that will just make me go down, 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 and that will not focus my thoughts towards him. Maybe you need to get rid of some relationships. Maybe there's some relationships in your life that just aren't serving you and are not pointing you close to Jesus. Maybe that there are some things that you're watching. Maybe there's some things that you're listening to that are not keeping you on mission to do all Jesus has called you to do. I encourage you this week, do an inventory of your life. Figure out things in your life that might be holding you back from being all that God has called you to be. Because we want to have a system reboot. We want to give ourselves that refresh button. Our TVs in our kids' auditorium, for the last few weeks, I don't know why. If y'all are technical and you want to come back and help us, you're welcome to. But we get in and those little screens, those small ones on the sides, they blink, blink, blink. It took us a couple weeks and we realized if we will just go in, turn them on, and then turn off the power strip and turn it back on again, it's going to work fine. And I think sometimes in our lives, in our thoughts, we have to do the same thing. We've got to go to the power strip, turn it off, turn it back on, or unplug it, plug it back in. That's the first thing they tell you to do, right, with any kind of electronics. Unplug it, plug it back in, take the battery out, put it back in, and see if that will help it to work. So in your own thoughts, what do you need to unplug this week? What do you need to really take an inventory and look at and say, is this keeping me on mission with Jesus? Is this helping me to boldly press into him, boldly go into all he's called me to do? Or is it doing the opposite? Is it pushing me away from him? So we're talking about Philippians 4 this week. And remember, we've been talking a lot about spirit, soul, and body. Body is the shell that we live in, temporary home. It dies when we die. Our spirit is that connects us to God. That continues on in Jesus. That continues on once we die and we go up to heaven. And then we've talked a lot about our soul, our mind, will, and emotions. Because those are the things that sometimes get off course, shall we say. Our mind, our will, and our emotions. Those dang emotions, those attitudes that can get off course. So we have to choose to open up that portal. To choose to open up the portal that connects us to God, to choose joy. So I'm going to read Philippians 4 verses 8 and 9, and that is our core text for this week. And now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. Keep putting into practice all you learned and received from me, everything you heard from me and saw me doing. Then the God of peace will be with you. We're going after that peace. We're wanting to open up that portal. The things that will shut down the portal are bad attitudes, the things that are opposite of this. When you're thinking on things that are not true, that are not noble, that are not right, that are not pure, that are not lovely, that are not admirable, that are not excellent and worthy of praise. One thing I encourage you guys to do is watch your mouth. It can be like, well, I'm an adult. I can say what I want. Like, it's fine. But guess what? When you speak, that alerts your mind. I was just reading an article about this morning, actually, from like your neurology scientist. And he was saying like the things that come out of your mouth are going to train your mind. That's true. So if you're constantly saying things like, oh, I'm just so bad at that, or I'm just a failure, or gosh, I can't get my life together. I mean, hello guys, I am totally guilty of this too. But if you're saying that out of your mouth and you're hearing this, then your mind is going to adjust to that and say, oh, that must be true. And you're gonna make all those neural pathways and you're gonna continue to think that way. But if you can push that hard reset this week and say, listen, I'm gonna boldly go after the things that God has called me to do. So here's the list of words that we need to do when we're doing an inventory for that hard reset. These are the list of words that we need to make sure that our mind is constantly focusing on. Things that are true, honorable, right, pure, lovely, admirable, excellent, and worthy of praise. Did you know that we all think around 50,000 thoughts a day? 50,000. That is a lot of thoughts. But you can beat your bad thoughts with bad words. So you can beat your bad thoughts with a bold word, not bad word, bold word. So if you're constantly thinking like, oh, I'm not good enough, I want you to start speaking out of your mouth. Jesus in me can combat anything that I might face. Or if there's a situation that seems hopeless and you're finding yourself in that neural pathway of like constantly thinking about it, constantly worried about it, constantly just so concerned, I want you to beat that neural pathway with a phrase you can speak out of your mouth. Like Jesus has got this. Like he is more than enough to seem to get this situation under control. If you feel like you have a terrible day and you're just like, something happened in the morning. I know it's happened to me plenty of times in my life where something happens at first thing in the morning, it just gets everything off, right? So instead of just letting your whole day be ruined because of one thing that happened, maybe it's an interaction with your kids or your spouse, your husband, or your wife, whatever, and it just like makes you grumpy all the day. Instead of like just going with that, because that's the easy thing to do, is just to say like, I'm just gonna be grumpy today, it's gonna be a bad day. Instead of saying that, you're gonna say, no, I'm gonna have a great day. Like give yourself a little pep talk. Like, I'm gonna have a great day. So you have the power to choose. So this is a little colander here that I have that Yo is gonna be preaching this week, so I'm so excited about. And imagine, I'm not gonna actually do this because it would make a big mess and we're gonna make a big mess enough on Sunday. But imagine all of this sand and rocks to be poured in here. The big sand or the big rocks and the big pebbles and things, that represents good thoughts that you want to stay. But let's let those bad rocks be that small sand. So when you pour it in here, it just keeps flowing through and out of you. We don't want to keep those little things. We don't want to keep the things that are going to make us play small. We don't want to keep the things that are going to make us be in this yucky mind space, but we want to keep the things that are going to be honorable, true, honorable, right, pure, worthy of praise. Like those are the things we want to keep in this colander this week. So remember, I boldly focus on the mission. Let me pray over you before we end. We will see you at 9:15 with your t-shirts on Sunday morning. Father, I thank you for this hero on the other side of the screen. I thank you that they are on a bold mission to lead these kids to you. I pray that this week that you would help them to continue to seek after you, that any seeds that they are sowing into our kids, God, that you would help them to receive just 100-fold back blessing from that. In Jesus' name, amen. Just really quick too, I would just want to remind you, we have our egg hunt coming up on the 24th of March. If you have not yet signed up, please go back to your email, sign up to help with that. We're going to need all hands on deck. It is going to be a huge event. We are excited about serving all the kids at Garden City with it. We have 10,000 eggs. We have just a lot that we need to do for it. So we would love all hands on deck, as many people that are willing to serve for that. So anyway, God bless you guys. We'll talk to you soon.